let's take a look at this guy, see if he's got anything. Seems like a nice enough guy, though. I don't look at this guy like with disdain or anything, but
Don't mean to derail the conversation. Can you put in simple premises why God is necessary for the mind to exist?
well, the mind, you have to define what a mind is. Obviously, that's definitely a irrelevant topic to this. But you have to determine what a mind is. So from a Christian view, mind is not a physical thing. It's metaphysical. And if it's a universal distinction, then the argument wouldn't actually be about mind. I'd never made the argument that mind exists, therefore God. I'm not sure. You could maybe do it. I argue that truth exists. And because truth exists and it can't be reduced to a human mind, a universal concept needs a type of a mind, and God would be the necessary mind. So I never really make that argument the way you presented it anyway, but I appreciate the tip.
Hello, everybody. This is the Critical Disciple. There are a lot of people right now who are extremely angry over Charlie Kirk's death, which is perfectly normal. Charlie Kirk was a very good man. He had a tremendous heart. He was recently assassinated. My wife and I, we have been mourning the loss of Charlie. He had a lot of love for God, a lot of love for people.
Slayed by Truth, little gang. Well, yeah, you're a little gang. But, oh yeah, I was going to say is that even you guys are like, I'm not chasing these soggy breadcrumbs. You know, you just look at it for what you think it is. You try to go, okay, this part's probably maybe true. Maybe, I don't know, this one's a little sketchy. Honestly, for me, it was a little strange to me. Of course, it's a strange circumstance, but it's very bizarre to me that whoever is guiding the widow, it's very bizarre to me that you'd put a video of you mourning the open casket. Now, maybe the reasoning is like, no, we got to make this real for people. But coincidentally, that made it less real for people. I think that was counterintuitive. Let's say that was like legitimate footage. Like, I find that whole thing bizarre. Like, you rushed the processing of the body where you could have found out more things to give the public maybe some peace of mind about everything, calm people. But the rushing, that would require a very urgent expedition of the body, which also happened, flown to back to Phoenix. But then you're like, let's do a quick video clip of me at the casket. Like, I agree. I think that's bizarre behavior. But then again, bizarre behavior usually is what follows crazy events. So it's kind of hard to piece together. You know, and the argument isn't those are fake hands, because you can always say that, but you could ask any embalmer professionally, they would say, no, that looks about right. And so you can't go that route, because anything can be fake now. Things that look real can be fake. So because it's close, you can never tell. And we're getting that point with AI. People think that Trump's speech was AI. Totally possible. We're basically at the crux of where AI, for certain things, absent a couple fingers, that you don't catch folding into each other, they're getting pretty good. It's getting to the point where you can't find that one weird spot. So anyway, I'm just saying that, like, for me, the appropriate way to act when someone is dead, especially someone close to you who's murdered horrifically, is to keep, that part in good taste. I don't think it's good taste to film the open casket and your mourning, and present it to the public. I just don't think that's me. That's just me. I would never do that. I would not want my wife to do that either if that happened to me. So
people, and he was taken from this world far too soon. And it's just very sad to see that. But I'm not really here to talk about what a good man Charlie was, although he was a very good man. there are a lot of people who are celebrating his death right now. A lot of people who they love to glorify in his death, which is absolutely sad to see and very maddening to see. But these are the people that we should be praying for. We need to be praying that these people who are excited that Charlie is dead, we need to be praying for those people. And we need to do what Jesus did, and we need to not only pray for them, but we need to love them, despite the fact that they are celebrating in Charlie's death.
Yeah, this is exactly the crap that you get from these modern heterodox Bible alone in their closet people. No offense to this guy, critical disciple. He goes by. Loving people sometimes requires, like, look at God's justice. God's divine justice is often an atheist argument who says, that's love. Are you saying that what happened with the Canaanites and the Amalekites is love? Yeah. Yeah. Well, no. If you love them, you'd let them continue to burn their babies alive every Thursday for 400 years. You just pray for them. Right? That's what what would Jesus do? No, Jesus is, stop it. Came with a sword also, okay? He wasn't just a professional hacky sack champion. He didn't have one of those Dave Matthews Band's era ponchos. He didn't let everyone in for free into the concert. Jeez.
You have Christians right now, such as Andrew Wilson, who is a very famous debater, saying things like this. I'll show you the clip.
So I'm at $5. I lost my fiance the day after the 31st birthday. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. A beautiful woman who changed my life. At her casket, pulling out a camera was never a thought. Yeah, it doesn't make... I'm sorry to hear that, but that's... Yeah. It doesn't occur. But then again, it's like, at this point, maybe Charlie Kirk's wife has his whole PR team like vultures. You know what I mean? Political influence like vultures. You know what I mean? Like, who knows? Who knows? I just think of, like, what you would look like as a woman, especially after this horror. That just doesn't match up with even her speech. So I don't know what's going on, honestly. Like, you know, I don't want to focus on her in the event she is mourning. And I'm just saying she's not mourning the way I want her to mourn. I don't want it to be like that. I'm just trying to compare in my head, like, what a disaster any other woman I would know necessarily. It's not even an insult. What a disaster they would be. They would look like total ass, by the way. Worse than me. Worse bags under their eyes. Fumbling over words. Falling down. You just watched not only the loss of your husband and father of your children, but in the worst possible way that you could probably imagine. And it's like, what? How are you able to present a WWE style call out? Like totally blown out hair and, you know, I don't get it. I don't know. Maybe there's just maybe that type of lifestyle. Maybe it's just a different world. You ever consider that? Maybe that world is just so different that just to even be in that world, you're already hard-shelled, that you're already callous. That's what's required to be at that level. Maybe that's what we are, the lowly people who are feeding on the scraps of the world in our shanties. Maybe it's us who are really soft. Maybe it's us who are more affected by things. Maybe those people are... Maybe that's the thing we don't get about those people, is that being in that world for so long, 10 years straight, maybe you really are hard-shelled. You know what I mean? Brandon says for $5, hey Jimbob, not sure if you saw, but the guy who was debating Charlie was Stacks. I don't know what that's. Stacks Eons. Always thought he was a good kid. Hope he's all right. Interesting. Speaking of debating, I have a double debate tonight. Not a double debate, a 2v2, matching up with Steelborn, who is a catechumen, against Wick, who's insane. Good luck watching that tonight over at Sarah Tomato and Corinth. If you thought Wick was bad, imagine me being insane enough to say yes to debating Corinth and Wick. Topic is nationalism compatible with Christianity? Should be a real hoot. If you feel like you haven't really exerted and expressed all your anger and emotions this last week, tonight would be a good time to do it. Over there. So I'll be dual streaming it, of course. So stay over at my side and support me. catechumendebating.com. Well, it's not in defense of orthodoxy. It's just general. It's just a general. Because ultimately we're going to ask, it's them making the positive claim that it's not, but they're going to have to tell us what it means to be like a Christian. And I don't know if Corinth can do that. Has Corinth ever? I mean, he kind of has to take on a Christian position authoritatively, which is bizarre. Anyway, let's watch this.
And you know, Brian, f*** these people, yeah? Fuck 'em.
F*** these people, you know? F*** these people. We're not going to like stop doing what we do.
This is the exact wrong attitude to have.
Oh my gosh, attitude? What are you, a guidance counselor? What are you, a principal of a K through 12? What? Excuse me?
This is completely contradictory to everything that Jesus stood for. You will have people right now who will say things like...
So Jesus stood for tolerating? I don't understand what you're saying here. What do you mean stood for? Jesus stood against. Yes, Jesus stands for something, but he also necessarily stands against something. You can't stand for something without necessarily being against everything that's against that thing, okay? I don't get this. Wrong attitude. Excuse me? You're having a really bad attitude about this. Your attitude isn't great. This is why, like, modern Christianity is totally feminized. The whole thing is sort of like psychological processing, self-help, sort of has a self-help hue to it. Loving these people right now might look like John the Baptist calling the Pharisees a brood of vipers. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's what's in question. What is it to love from a Christian perspective? Well, anyone who's a parent knows that loving from a Christian perspective honestly is mostly not giving hugs and kisses. Anyone who's a parent, shout out to the parents. You know this. It's mostly not hugs and kisses and support and good attitude.
To justify Andrew's behavior.
This is slimy. That clip is out of context. I was watching the stream. Andrew was talking about going to personal events right before that. Well, yeah, he's just clip. It doesn't even matter. If he had the full clip, he would still interpret it this way, honestly.
Behavior. They'll say things like, oh, well, you, critical disciple. Although I have a feeling that after watching this video, some people are going to be calling me the hypocritical disciple. You don't know what...
How about the neckbeard disciple?
It's like you were never...
Bro, Jesus said don't do a neckbeard. Okay? I know what's stopping people from converting to orthodoxy. It's not. They know the theology is correct. They know the praxis is on point. They know the metaphysics is seamless. They just can't grow an epic beard.
We're close with Charlie.
I'm going to take a piss.
Therefore, you have no say. Or they will say things like, you know, you're just being too nice or something like that. But this isn't about me. This is about what Jesus said. Let's actually look at what Jesus said. Matthew 5, verse 43 through 44, you have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy, but I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And then you have Luke 6, 27 through 28, but I say to you, who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who abuse you. As you continue to read Matthew 5, Jesus says, for if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? What he's essentially saying is, if you're just loving people who love you back, then you're not doing anything that is different or special. You need to be loving those who are persecuting you, people who despise you. That is the challenge. That is the real hard part. And this is not me saying this is an easy thing to do. This is an extremely difficult thing to do. That's why Jesus said that we had to do it. He knew that it would be extremely difficult for us to do this, but this is how we act in a Christ-like way. And the thing that just makes me so sad right now is that you have men who are very prominent figures like Andrew Wilson who are saying things like, basically, screw these people. And that is not what Jesus wanted. Now, he will, and his followers will probably justify that by saying things like this, if you watch this clip.
We have adopted Christianity to be a be nice.
What did I miss? Sola Griftora? Is he a Christian? Well, he's one of those people in their houses who are like, I'm a Christian, I read the Bible. They're not connected to any body, probably. The local church that allows anybody to teach whatever they want. They flip a coin, they do spin the bottle preacher. Probably one of those places.
Religion, and it never was a be nice religion.
It's passive.
It's supposed to be a get in your face religion. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be a no, you're wrong. You fucking skank, you're wrong, and you're a liar.
This is not me saying you should be nicer to people. That's probably what they'll argue. Oh, well, Jesus didn't, he didn't die, so we should be nice to people.
Floor mat theology.
What it's like, well, this is actually way more profound than that. Jesus wants us to love our enemies.
Oh my gosh, dude. That's a meaningless statement, dude. We're talking about behaviors. Yes, we can love our enemies, right? And stop them. We can love our enemies and contain them. We can love our enemies and correct them. What are you saying we should do, buddy? You're not saying anything. We should love our enemies. Meaningless. Tell me what it means to love our enemies in action. Please. Tell me what it means to love your child in action. Guess what? I'll say it again. Anyone who's a parent knows that loving your children and loving your family and friends even, a lot of times loving them is going against them. He's profoundly soft. Yeah, it's just terrible. Terrible. It's like he's the epitome of the downfall of the West in regards to taking a Christian position. Floor mat theology. Shabuk, $5. This is the Christian version of child-led parenting. Really, it is. Oh my gosh, that's so perfect. Too many huggies and kissies is the feminine side. Yeah, this is, what do you call it? A Montessori Christianity. This is Montessori Christianity. Bryce says that love does not necessitate being nice. I don't know why people think it does. It comes from the terminology of love from the 1960s hippie movement. Yeah, free love. It's like freedom, liberation. Don't dampen their fun times.
He does. And if you're unable to understand that, then you need to read more of Scripture.
Oh, gosh. Throw up in my mouth. If you don't understand my perspective, then you need to... Oh, sorry. Whoops. Sorry. My bad. I just brought you to... I'm trying to fix my... by the way, my alerts. You guys, some of you freaking out. Just so you guys know, I'll have to actually write it in each clip. My alerts... up until the death of Charlie Kirk have my funny visual mockery. By the way, Charlie Kirk would have laughed at that anyway. But people are like, you should really take that down. Well, I changed it the same day I figured out he was dead. Just because I know it's mockery, I just didn't want to mock him. Will he return? Probably. I'll just make some sort of like variation of it. You know what I mean? But anyway, just so you guys know, if you keep seeing that in the clips, it's because the clips are being pulled from pre-death streams. So, you know, deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, chill out. Relax. Don't be a jerk.
Love thy
Jerk.
enemies. They used to say prayers for criminals being executed at the execution. God have mercy on your soul.
What's happening, dude? I don't know what's happening. Oh, Sorry, guys. This is boomer level. I'm doing boomer level stuff right now. I apologize. I'm trying to fix my alerts because I have a really funny one, and it's not showing up. So I'll just give up at this point. L's in the chat. How about that? You stupid Jimbob, you dummy. All right. So again, what he says is this. He goes, "Well, Jesus is nice to everybody, and he loves his enemies." Yeah, we agree. He says, "And if you disagree with me, just look at Scripture." Okay, cool. Here we go. Let's do the Bible alone stuff. Here we go.
God is speaking through Ezekiel here, and it gives you an amazing insight as to who God is. Do you think that I like to see wicked people die, says the sovereign Lord? Of course not. I want them to turn from their wicked ways and live. However, if righteous people turn from their righteous behavior and start doing sinful things and act like other sinners, should they be allowed to live? No, of course not. All their righteous acts will be forgotten, and they will die for their sins. It goes on. I don't want you to die, says the sovereign Lord. Turn back and live.
Oh, gosh. This is so gross. Oh, my gosh. This is where it leads you. This is why, like, heresies come from just sitting there reading Scripture, like, all by yourself. He's just doing a sermon. You're doing a little sermon in response to Andrew Wilson's statements? You're just going to just do your own sermon? Stanley, $5. If your kid is walking the road when a car is coming, you don't nicely say, "Come here, sweetie." You say, "Yeah, get out of the freaking word." You rip them by their arm. By the way, he's referring to death, right? Obviously, when you look at Christianity and we're talking about death, the distinction death has a deep meaning. You know, like what it is to die, separate from your mortal body, a type of separation from God or something like he's just like death. He's saying, he's like reading this and going, see, don't get angry as if what we're saying is kill the enemy. No, we're not talking about death. We're talking about spiritual death. Not talking about like, this is just so frustrating because they read this and they're like, clearly it says.
He does not take pleasure in killing anyone, whether they are people who are righteous who become wicked or people who are currently wicked. He'd rather have wicked people turn from their wickedness and become righteous. That is who God is. So this is nothing new. This is not something where it's like, oh, well, God and Jesus, they're completely different people. No. He's always wanted wicked people to turn from their wickedness. And then you have guys like Andrew Wilson. I don't know his heart. I don't know if he's actually saved or not. But I can tell you this. Based off of the fruit that I see, I can understand that he's angry. I can understand that he's sad. But at the end of the day, you're setting a horrible example for other Christians. Horrible example. And non-Christians.
Gosh, you're so soy, bro. Like even if you were completely right, which you're not, I'm sorry, but just the voice you wouldn't win in a battle. Like nobody's gonna listen just based on the voice. I'm sorry. I'm not using that as an argument. I'm just stating fact. That's just the reality you're gonna deal with.
Christ is saying to do, he's not just saying be nice. He's saying you should have a sacrificial type of love.
Bryce J, $5. These evangelicals are crypto-Marcionites. They ignore that God is a man of war and write them all off. God annihilates the wicked, doesn't affirm them. Yeah, they have a view of... that's why that book was so impactful to me, Bryce. I don't know if you read it or listened to it by Father Stephen DeYoung, God is a man of war. Even the term justice, understanding it through the lens of God, what is justice to God? Is like an ordering. And once you see that, it's not like a fairness. It's not like a gavel, I'm going to judge, I get to judge you now. Judgment itself is an ordering system for God. And we take our human approach, and this guy here, the problem with these guys is they really are stuck in a rights-based, individualistic paradigm. And even them reading back into the Old Testament, they read in from a modern lens. They're doing presentism in the past. And once you understand, well, what is justice from a biblical perspective, then you understand what you would otherwise, be squeamish about. Something you were squeamish about in the world. By the way, being squeamish and seeing what is something horrible, that is a temporal phenomenon. That's not how God judges. You know what I mean? Like he even said the phrase like, God doesn't take pleasure or whatever, right? Like even that, it isn't a fully one-to-one linguistic comparison to how we experience things, pleasure and pain, and as if God has also the same paradigm where he's like, that feels good. That no like me no likey make me itch. Like this is like, it's silly. It just shows like how surface level they are in their theology. And I'm not saying that to be like, I know so much more, but I'm saying like the wholeness of the theology, you can see the absence of it in the way they speak. That they're just like, they're stuck in like a temporal lens for some reason. I don't know why. Garrett Link, $10. He contradicts himself with his verses. He says God said, love thy enemy, and then said God will punish the righteous people who turn wickedness. Yeah, there's a wrathfulness that's like, what the hell? He just proved Smoky Man bad using scripture. He surely did.
For wicked people, which is far more difficult than being nice to people. So, and it's just one of those things where it's like, I can understand where he's coming from because he's a very politically minded person. He obviously is sick and tired of, the collective woke culture that...
Well, no, he's also sick and tired of you fake soft Christians. He's tired of we're all tired of it. We're tired of the sewing circle Christians. We're tired of the covert feminist Christians, okay? It's not just the woke. They're on both sides, dude. He's like, well, I can really understand how he doesn't like those terrible people that I don't like. No! Doesn't stop there, dude. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop there. What we're tired of is people like you sitting back like a floor mat and watching wickedness take over your entire nation. And your nation is an extension of your family, and ultimately would be an extension of your church, would be a representation, if ideally, right? We'll see that tonight, by the way, in the debate. Whether or not the ideal, not that it's totally possible, but the ideal is that if your family is an extension of the church, and your community is then an extension of the church, then ideally your whole town would be, and then ideally your whole state would be. Wouldn't you want to convert everyone to the church? No, that would be nationalism. That's scary. Smoky Man bad. How is it a Christian thing? Exactly, Chase. How is it a Christian thing to let your nation be destroyed by wickedness? Well, what would Jesus do? I can't even, like, I'm afraid to even imagine what Christ would do. He wouldn't be in a freaking hammock.
Believe so much in empathy. I'm one of those people where it's like, I'm not really a politically minded person, but I do feel it's my responsibility as somebody who does call himself a Christian to call out another Christian and say, look, man, I understand that you're mad, and I understand that you're...
I understand. I'm processing. Everything with these people. Everything is from the lens of a guidance counselor. By the way, you have no authority to approach Andrew Wilson as a person who just calls himself a Christian. Do you know that Mormons call themselves Christian? Are you aware of that? Are you going? Okay, so critical disciple. Are you going to allow a Mormon to correct you and say, "Hey, as a Christian critical disciple, I'm gonna have to push back on it," right? No, we wouldn't even grant you're a Christian, dude. Jason Cassell, $10. Thank you so much, Jason. I find it disgusting this guy is criticizing Andrew, but not condemning the people celebrating what happened. He might get to it, or maybe I missed it in a different stream, but he's trying to just do basic piety signaling. You know what I mean? Because it's like, ultimately, the entire scenario, whoever calls himself a Christian, this is going to mostly piss everybody off, what happened this last week. And so what's happening is now like this weird struggle. It's like the event was a stomp on the ground next to an anthill. And the ants are just running around, right? But now we're going to be arguing over what the hill is. You know what I mean? What's being harmed here? What's being attacked? I mean, all you'll get from these guys is psychological analysis, psychological reports, tone policing. That's it. That's all you're going to get. No actual arguments.
You're upset. And even if you and Charlie were really close, like, I can understand where you're coming from. I do. But that's no excuse to be saying these kinds of things.
Oh my gosh, dude. I almost hope that you don't get to talk to him in person, like one-on-one. I almost hope that you don't do it. Is he clout chasing? I'm not sure. I mean, he only has 128 subs. I mean, I feel like a lot of people at this point, it's hard to separate whether they're gonna use this to clout chase or they're just throwing in their ideas in the mix because everyone's saying, like, everybody has a Charlie Kirk video right now. Like, everybody. Like, I'm waiting for, like, a cartoon character to do, like Link. I'm waiting for a video from Link from Zelda to do a Charlie Kirk video at this point. Garrett Link, speaking of Link, Garrett Link, $5. He's also in a performative contradiction. He's being very loving of his neighbor. Right, yeah, from his view, he's being very loving, right? He's doing correction. It's a good point, Garrett. Thank you for that.
You shouldn't. You should not. Because all it's doing is it just makes Christ look bad. You're not...
It makes Christ look bad? This is the kind of thing, like, I used to criticize, like, back in the day, I voted for Obama. It's my, like, default liberal day. But the pushback I would get when I criticize Obama, because I voted for him, I was like, I can criticize him because I voted for him. I should. You know what they said to me? You're making him look bad. Like, this guy is concerned with how Christ looks. Wow.
Not representing
optics. Yeah, cringe optic maxing.
And Christ the way that you should be. So, the reason I'm making this video is ultimately to say, don't be like Andrew Wilson. Sure, you can be like Andrew Wilson in other ways, but not in this way. Don't curse those who curse
He didn't curse them. He doesn't even know what curse means.
you. You are supposed to bless those who curse you.
Oh gosh, this guy's he's actually making me vomit in my mouth.
Which is a difficult thing. It's no easy thing. It is an exceptionally difficult thing for anybody to do, especially when they're glorifying in your death. But they also glorified in Jesus' death, and yet he was still, even then, willing to die for them. And that is the example that we should look towards.
We should die for our enemies? I don't understand. What's happening here? We should... What?
We don't look towards Charlie Kirk as our example.
This guy's soying out. I know. I'm literally like... I'm losing my armpit hair.
We look towards Jesus.
My beard is falling out live.
We don't look towards Andrew Wilson as our example. We look towards Jesus. That should be the goal of anybody who claims that Jesus is their Savior. Anybody who claims that, you need to be doing that. You need to be following Jesus' example and what he is commanding us to do.
The voice, man. The voice is so sus.
So, anyway, I just wanted to say that because...
Why are you gay? Why do you sound gay?
I understand that it's a very sad time right now. It's a very sad and frustrating time right now. And the last thing that a lot of Christians...
By the way, Andrew is probably one of the most outspoken people against like Fed posting, against even insinuating some type of violent uprising. Completely. That's what's so bizarre about these people. They listen to Andrew's smoky man bad voice and his intonation and how he talks, basically like a middle to lower class mechanic. Like he's under a car. Like if you heard Andrew talking, you'd think he was actually under a car, like with oil on his face. They take that and they go, "Oh my gosh, this is dangerous." Like, what are you talking about? It's like a complete opposite. You could actually find all the people online who even claim Christianity who are more tailored toward, like, violence, like, explicitly. You know, time for this, time for that. And he's like, no, we're still going to fight back, and this is what it looks like. We're going to fight back. Keep fighting. It's like such a poor... I mean, it's just a weak, lazy... I mean, it's really deceptive, dude. I don't care how long your hair is. I don't care how many Bible verses you have studied, dude. This is a very deceptive view. And obviously his own comments, you know, if you look at the comments of this post, which is Critical Disciple, his most recent video, Andrew Wilson is wrong. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Dude, go look at the comments. Link doesn't speak. Oh, yeah, Link is autistic, right? Poor guy. Oh, Link. Oh, man. Orthodoxy Chronicles, $10. Thank you so much for that. Not sure what we mean by what would Jesus do. Jesus judged Jerusalem in 70 AD. 2 million were thrown in the valley of Hinnom on fire, as he said judgment would come to them in Matthew 24. Well, that's just... Maybe he was doing it, Orthodoxy, in a nice way. Like, maybe he was like... Maybe, like, the process was like... It smelled like potpourri. Or something. You know, maybe it was cushion. Maybe he gave them little soft foam helmets or something. I'm not sure. $10 from Noj, thank you. Imagine if this guy was in charge of the Christian armies when the Muslim Turks were encroaching back in the day. No. This is all luxury, by the way. Like everything, all of feminism, all of this like idealism, it's luxury. It's all luxury, including this, including my own channel. It's all luxurious. It's decadence. The reality The reality is known when the shit hits the fan. Then the reality is known. That's when you know what's up.
I want to hear somebody like me saying these things because
you could have at least used a voice changer, bro. If you're going to make an fairly aggressive video against Andrew, calling him out, you could at least use a voice changer. Scumbag, $5. This guy would have told Jesus to stop being mean when he called the Pharisees a den of vipers. Yeah. I was confused about that. Someone said that was Paul before. I thought it was Christ. Jesus answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would have been fighting. John, prayer is better. Well, yeah, prayer is ideal, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a time that you do fight. But yeah, you're right. There is a time that you fight. There is a time.
Because it can be an extremely frustrating thing because they're going, what do you mean don't be upset right now? Whoa. I'm not saying it's not okay to be upset. It's okay to be mad and it's okay to be sad. But in your anger and in your sadness, don't sin by hoping that these people die.
What? When did Andrew say any of that? You lying snake. You weasel. Where is he sinning? What are you talking about, dude? What are you saying?
Pray for them and
oh, he's just AIDS.
Hope that they change their ways. The way that
yeah, I just hope that. Yeah, I just hope it. Don't set laws or anything. Just hope they change their ways. Just hope that the Amalekites change their ways. You know what I mean? When you see a full-on demon in the flesh holding a baby upside down that's crying and it's about to light it on fire, you just hope and pray. Just hope. Just hoping and praying. Yeah. When your kid fails to be obedient to you and acts out in rebellion, you don't lovingly discipline them with correction. You just look at them intensely and you send hope beams at them. Boy, I hope my kid gets corrected by someone. Boy, I'm hoping to be an active parent. Why don't you just be an active parent? Because I'm hoping to. I have to hope first. What is this? Hope without action? What, prayer without action? What are you talking about, dude? Do you want to fight me? I'll show you some action. Would you? Huh? I'll give you the time of day. I'm not famous. I'll give you any day.
That God and the way that Jesus want. That's exactly what Jesus wants. So, anyway, all that to say, please follow Christ's example. Even though you're upset right now, please try to follow in his example. And don't repay evil for evil. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord.
Yeah, we're not doing vengeance, bro. Nobody's doing vengeance. Okay? Now, let's take a look here. I actually wrote this here. I wrote, pray for the Canaanites. Just love them. And I wrote, okay, bucko. He wrote, that's not a fair comparison. The conquest of the Canaanites was a unique act of God's judgment in the Old Testament. What I'm addressing is the New Testament command of Jesus. Yeah, these people really think that the resurrection of Jesus Christ, right, and not the abolition of the old law, right, the fulfillment, but not the abolition, that we agree something fundamentally, metaphysically changes with the resurrection of Christ, the trampling of death, okay? What it is to be in the body of Christ, right? He established a church. What it is to be Christian, to live Christian, right? A continuation of pre-Christ to post-resurrection Christ. Yeah, we agree. This is all shifts, right? But he's acting like the New Testament is merely the 60s. Or like that's what he's saying. And he's getting completely wrecked, by the way, in the chat, you know. And he should. Because this isn't the type of guy who could actually protect his home. This isn't the guy who could actually protect a nation if it was Christian. In fact, leaning on this guy, you'll never have a nation that has Christian laws. Wait, let me get this straight. Is it too mean to make a law that's based on Christian ethics? Is that too far? Oh, I bet he'd say that was too legalistic. I bet you he's the type I bet you he's even against abortion. I bet you this guy holds a view. Now, I don't know this. I'm just guessing. This is all speculation. But I bet this guy holds a view where he's anti-abortion, but he doesn't want to make a law about it. I bet you. Terrible. This is like the weakness. This is exactly what the issue has been all the way up into this point. And Charlie Kirk, God bless him, he was on his way, perhaps. He was on his way. Not sure how far along, but I do believe that he was either going to follow Chocolatey Pudding Popsicle Candace Owens into Catholicism, or he was going to pursue, because he did inquire about orthodoxy with a fairly open mind. I think he would have developed. He was a young lad. But even up until the point of his death, he was still holding to liberal principles, if you really think about it. Like he was just getting around to seeing that, hold on a second. Being a Christian, but defending liberalism above your Christian virtues and being willing to implement your Christian ethical system through law. The reason you don't implement your Christian ethical system is because of some liberal approach to the Constitution. You realize what you're valuing more. And by the way, implementing Christian laws doesn't force people to believe anything. And also, the irony is that having a constitutional Bill of Rights system of law forces people to accept a belief called rights. So even if it did force you to behave as if a belief was true, like sin, a belief in sin and using some sort of law to punish sin, you know, how is it different than using a law to punish the act against rights? Liberty becomes the God that you're acting against. You know, law, something illegal is the privation or act away from liberty. Sin would be the act, the privation of the good, of God. We've just like inverted it. And now you get all these like Western, modern, heterodox Christians really, without knowing it, arguing, taking the fixture of Christ as like some sort of like avatar and placing Christ in a liberal, a classical liberal to be distinct, classical liberal paradigm, and saying he's the icon of liberalism. No, he's the icon of God. He's the icon of truth, that truth is divisive or divisive, as some people say. No, it's not unifying. We're united in Christ through the body. That's the church. We're not. It doesn't unify everybody. Oh, if we just unify in Christ's niceness, then your enemies, you'll be nice to them when they destroy your entire society. What are you talking about, dude? Walter Mellon, nice to see you. $10. I must be out of the loop. Last I saw, Andrew was saying not to Fedboast and expose people. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, that guy I just showed is a liar. He's misrepresenting Andrew. He's actually spewing lies. He's bearing false witness. Stupid. Irresponsible speaking. And, you know, he thinks he can do that because he only has 128 subs. He thinks he can just lie. Terrible, man. Altervoid, $10. Sorry, but I would take it farther and bet he is pro-choice and just says, I wouldn't abort, but that's not up to me to force women. Definitely by his voice alone, I'm thinking that. That's what I'm thinking. He's a hippie Jesus. Yeah, he's a hacky sack player. You know what I mean? He plays the recorder, ironically. He still has the recorder. He does it at concerts. He follows Fish still. Any of you still follow Fish? Anybody still listen to Fish? Get out of my chat. Be gone. Be gone. Be gone. You understand bearing false witness, but you don't understand love your enemies. I heart Seamus. We got an idiot in the chat.
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
How is it that I heart Seamus every time you have like a 10 for 10 effectiveness and totally missing everything I just said? How do you miss that the entirety of the last 10-minute rant was about the question of what does it mean to love thy enemy? What does it mean in action? How do you miss the whole thing, I heart Seamus? Shame on you. Shame. 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 You stupid, stupid boy. Anyway, let's get this goblin's take.
Point for an entire culture of people who apparently crave a second American Civil War. Now, before I provide examples for you, I want to be clear. Calls to violence and cheers of violence are not the sole domain of any tribe, group, political party, camp, etc. But today, the right is claiming that calls to violence, extremism, etc., and the shooting of Charlie Kirk are part of a liberal disease. It's those.
That is true. It is a liberal disease. So it could still be a liberal disease and not be, and violence doesn't have to be peculiar. He's trying to say that just because calls to violence in general could be a part of any group, that would be antithetical to saying, no, there's a specific element to liberalism that's calling for this. There's a specific element that seems to be front and center on the stage, Seth Andrews, where liberals in particular liberals who despise right-leaning politics, who falsely claim it's fascistic, who falsely claim it's Nazism, right? They've been trained in your academia that you guys run, by the way, Seth Andrews. Christians don't run academia anymore. You guys do. You guys are breeding and farming and raising, grooming children starting in high school, starting younger, basically. And then when they get to college, they are taught basically politics of hatred. The irony of that they are to hate this thing that's really big and scary called white people. They're to hate things called the patriarchy. They are to hate these things called right-leaning politics, right? Anything that's aligned with the right is taught in schools. Seth Andrews, you little weasel. You know that it's taught in schools. It's not even either. It's not like an even amount of like right-leaning Christian paradigm colleges paired up with unequal amount of left-leaning insane lunacy school, loony bins. Don't send your kids to college. I mean, if there's one message that I thought Charlie Kirk was lacking, probably because, financially he needed it to be the case. Like if there were no colleges, he'd have nowhere to tour to, right? And argue. One of the main messages is you shouldn't even go to college. Unless you're going to learn a skill, something that's applicable, that's not going to be like undermined by swift technological growth and disruption. Skills, skilled labor. There's a fair amount of things that you could learn by going to college, but the majority at this point, it doesn't justify going at all. You're really just sending your kid to basically a learning camp to be molded into a terrorist. Yeah. The difference here, Seth Andrews, you little weasel, is that the people are celebrating political terrorism. That's what it is. They're celebrating it. Okay? And it's disproportionate. Even if you got some people to say, we need a civil war, they're still taking some sort of legal approach, by the way. That's what's funny about right-wingers. They take a historical approach, and it's proper. It's like a civil war. Like there's a historical precedent for what a war is, what a civil war is, right? Even historically, civil wars from both sides, you'd say it was justified. A lot of times you're like, oh, this is a notion. This is something you can't turn back on. This is something that's the equalizer is gonna be a war, unfortunately. And yet the right side isn't supporting political terrorism. They're even asking for like a legalized war. Like even the people who are like, I'm ready with my gun. They're like, please tell me it's okay at some point to fight a war, right? They're still taking a kind of like it's like funny. They're still taking a constitutional approach that there might be a case for a war. It's funny.
Those woke lefties who are the ones who have dehumanized. It's their violent rhetoric which caused the killing. We saw this claim just recently with White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller when he tweeted that our institutions are infected.
Did you watch Sam Hyde's video? Some of it. I saw the one that's being sort of like circulated where he's just saying, she's your daughter. That's you. That's your daughter. This is you. Very effective rhetoric, by the way, from Sam Hyde.
Did with wicked ideology, threatening our children, society, civilization. Now, anyone who understands the power of language, the nuances of language, realizes that this is holy crusade messaging, and it has a purpose.
No, hold on a second. Holy cow! That is a big super chat! Thank you, Vagine. Hold on a second, Seth Andrews. It actually goes both ways. Yes, you can find crusader-like, holy crusader-like language and rhetoric on the right side, of course. But what is it when the left does it? What do you call it? What do you call it, buddy? What do you call that? Of course it's a type of crusade. It's a crusade against patriarchy, against right-wing politics, fascism, white supremacy, all of the things they learn in school. They're actually trained. The only thing that's missing, thank God, is that they're not trained in military operations. They're not trained. They're actually trained to dislike guns, which is good. They're trained, but they're still trained to be war hawks. And he's acting like that's a peculiarity of the right side, always, every time.
It's designed to prime this country for a right-wing takeover of the culture. After all, anybody who is not part of the righteous right is an enemy. They're an enemy of religion. They're an enemy of freedom. They're an enemy of America. Those who dare to speak dissent, they are traitors.
No, buddy. You're such a little snake, dude. I hope you get on to, Piers Morgan. Someone tag the crap out of Piers Morgan and have this scumbag, Seth Andrews, you are a scumbag, have him up against Andrew or someone on Piers Morgan, trying to run these arguments. Yeah, it's easy for you to do your little 12-minute bits, post it, and forget it. But you'd be completely toast, dude, if you were up against somebody. What we're seeing, Seth Andrews, is people on your side of politics who hold your views generally. They are celebrating political terrorism. And then you're like, oh, the right side is calling them an enemy of the nation. Yes, political terrorism is an action against the nation. How could you? That's not even controversial. Is political terrorism an act against the fabric and the workability and the function of your nation? Yes, it is. Well, no, it's good blue-haired terrorism. It's like the good kind. It's righteous. Okay. Who's the religious person again? They call Christian values hate. Pretty wild. It's insane.
The left has been saying put a bullseye on Trump, a bullseye on his supporters.
Charlie Kirk's a casualty of war. We're in this country.
We are.
They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not,
Yes, assassinating someone for political views in America is an act of war. What? I don't understand, Seth Andrews. You think getting a bunch of people on the right on CNN and all Fox saying this is an act of war, you think that changes the nature of what just happened? That was a terroristic act, politically driven. Yes? Yes. People who support it support terroristic acts. Acts of violence based on politics. It's pretty simple. 1-2 punch. Alter Void $5. No, JB. When the left talks about things and pushing away, it's called correct. Shut up and listen. Yeah. They're virtuous in it, right? They're virtuous.
they are at war with us. What are we going to do about it?
Now, the assassination of Charlie Kirk must be condemned without hesitation.
Okay, and when it's not, Seth, is that supporting political terrorism?
Of course, this morning an arrest was made. A suspect is in custody, and whoever's responsible should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And yet Charlie Kirk's murder does not make him a martyr.
That's true, but it makes him an example. Like, even if you didn't call him a Christian martyr, which he's not, it doesn't take away the power of what he symbolizes, what the death itself symbolizes. You're not going to erase that, Seth Andrews, no matter how good your voice is for radio. No matter how good your impression of the narrator from A Christmas Story is. I got you. I know what you're doing. I know what you're tapping into. I know you listened and watched The Christmas Story 755 times just so you can get that voice down. I know. It was a good choice. Honestly, I commend you for it. Because that's a deep-rooted identity for an age group of like 35 to 55. So, good call on that. I mean, I'll give you credit there.
Or a hero. It doesn't mean Charlie Kirk was a...
How is he not a martyr? He's not a Christian martyr. He died for liberty. He didn't die for Christ. He didn't die for orthodoxy. He died for liberty. He's definitionally... No, he's not. No, he's not a Christian martyr. He might be a, quote, colloquial martyr, but he's a martyr for liberty. He's not a Christian martyr. Christian, it's not liberty, right? If you die for liberty itself, that's what you're fighting. Liberty, just liberty, just broadly liberty. I mean, there's a lot of people that died just for liberty who are complete degenerates, by the way.
Good person. And yet moments.
He's a martyr to Protestants, yeah.
After he was fatally shot in the neck at Utah Valley University on the...
Who is a martyr if Charlie is not? Read The Life of the Saints, dude. Here. Find these books. Okay? Martyrdom? No. Charlie Kirk was like a YouTuber. He's a political activist, right? He's an activist for constitutionalism. He's an activist for a Bill of Rights. He was an activist. He was a classical liberal. He was a Zionist, okay? I know it's hard for you guys to hear, right? Death is horrible. He was a Zionist. Only until recently he was starting to question it, okay? He was a Zionist. You can't be a Zionist and be a Christian martyr. You can't put the interests of a bunch of Jews who don't even live here above your nation and call it a Christian nation and call yourself a martyr if you die. The hell are you talking about? When the majority of your career is in support of another nation, an ethno-nation state that is identified as anti-Christian, practicing anti-Christian, you can't be a Christian martyr if you die.
10th of September, his name immediately became deified. Charlie Kirk has been a convenient poster boy, yet another excuse for the righteous right to declare holy war upon the wicked, anybody who disgusts them.
He brought more people to Christ than you, Jimmy boy. That's irrelevant, Trex. Maybe he did. But from my point of view, bringing someone to Christ means bringing them into the body, into the fold of the church, Trex. So we don't even agree on what that means. If you mean he generally pointed in the direction of a guy named Christ, sure. But I don't think that's relevant unless you're baptized, unless ultimately you're folded into the body, and there is a body, Trex. So you could say that about Jordan Peterson. Oh, he pointed more people to a general view of Christ than you. Fine. Well, how many people did he convert to orthodoxy? I definitely converted more people to orthodoxy than Charlie Kirk, and I'm not even thinking that's oh, I'm so good. I'm just saying, if you're going to use that standard, dude, that's not going to work on me. It's not going to work on me. If Charlie Kirk converted 50 people, 500, 1,000 people to Zionist evangelicalism, and I only converted 5 people to orthodoxy, I'm going to still take my 5. Okay?
Maybe you saw that press conference with South Carolina Representative Nancy Mace.
Enough is enough. And now I have to deal with real safety concerns. It sounds like the shooter was a tranny or pro-tranny.
Nice. That's hilarious. That's great. Now what is he gonna freak out that he used that? I mean, that's hilarious. That was just good. I like how she doesn't care. She just says it. That was good. He's gonna get all worried about this. Oh, did you hear her? Did you hear her say the word? She said the T word. Thomas Vasky says, being in a physical location doesn't save you. I don't know what that means, Thomas Vasky. What are you guys having some sort of brain meltdown? Is your brain melting and whatever sounds that come out of your mouth through your thumbs, is that what's happening? What are you talking about? I don't even know what you mean. Being in a physical location doesn't save you. I never said the church is a physical location, you scumbag. Why are you guys such scumbags? Sorry. Why are you guys such scumbags? The church... Did I say Christ is a physical location? I said the church is the body of Christ. I didn't say a physical location saves you, Thomas. You snake. You should be ashamed of yourself, you fork-tongued demon. Do you want to fight me? Anyway. Yesterday I witnessed a monk scold an Indian for not peeling potatoes sufficiently. Well, that's one win this week.
Representative Nancy Mace.
Enough is enough. And now I have to deal with real safety concerns. It sounds like the shooter was a tranny or pro.
Oh my gosh. I wish the police talked like this.
Tranny.
You gotta talk freely like this from now on.
And just because I want to protect women, that I'm worried about getting murdered? Are you fucking kidding me?
Florida Representative Anna Paulina Luna blamed everybody who sounded the warning about fascism in this country.
So hard to speak your language, so many words. I know, you have to use code language. We have to develop like Pig Latin for based people.
She said they're the problem. She used Charlie Kirk's murder as an opportunity to rant about her pet outrages. And she says the opponents of fascism are the hate they claim to fight. President Donald Trump wasted absolutely no time. Again, with no suspect found or named at that time, he said the radical left was responsible.
For years, those on the radical left.
People are saying this is AI. Honestly, I'm reaching boomer levels where I'm having trouble figuring it out as well.
Have compared wonderful Americans.
It's possible. If you look at his mouth. If you look at his mouth, like when he's like, that's where you find it. It's like little things like the hands and the mouth. If there's like a weird, just like inorganic movement of the mouth.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the
Hard to
world's
tell.
worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible.
It's hard to tell. The mouth usually gives it away, and so far, I don't see a giveaway with the mouth.
For the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
Interestingly, Trump ordered all American flags to be lowered to half-mast. This is something he has never done. He certainly didn't do it after the murder of prominent Democrats, Minnesota State.
It's funny that these people are freaking out about a lowered flag at half-mast as if it means anything at this point in this country. Not to belittle it, but it's like, come on, guys. It's like, so you're freaking out that we lowered the flag for someone who was assassinated in public. That's the news. That's what our society is now. Public assassinations. Yet you're totally fine projecting the rainbow sodomy flag on the White House. So lowering the flag, bad. Sodomy flag on the entire White House, good? Okay.
State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, when Trump was asked if he was going to reach out and speak with Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, after that terrible murder, he blew it off. He said,
I just feel like this guy, listen to this guy, and I feel like he's just about to sell me a diamond. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. 35 of 50, y'all. Appreciate the support. We're at 36 now of 50, y'all. 14 left on the goal. Help old Jimbob reach his goals. I didn't stream for 4 full days. Tactical Toast, $5. A little behind here, but C, Kirk did actively call college a scam. Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, fair enough. Fair enough. It's just that, like, ultimately, he was getting to the kids who already fell for the scam. And honestly, the goal, like, I think that's a big goal, I think, for our society, is like, whoever invented the notion that most people should go to college was off the mark to begin with. I don't know what triggered that. Maybe the civil rights movement. Like the general view, like everybody needs everything. Like anyone who has something, everyone needs that thing because it's fair. I mean, that's the mistake here. But yeah, fair enough.
It's a waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time for
Kelly Silva, $10, says nothing. Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate you.
Donald Trump to pardon the insurrectionists of January 6th.
Insurrectionists. It's so funny they still call that. I've seen a more chaotic line at the water park nearby. You know what I mean? I've seen more chaos at Trader Joe's than on January 6th.
Those perpetrators of violence were very special.
I'm sorry, I didn't... What happened there?
And they were worthy of his love. Only the treasonous left can be agents of chaos, injury.
Take my Jort coin, bigot. Thank you. Yeah, pass up your Jort coin. Appreciate it. Pay your super taxes, y'all. Pay your super taxes.
And death. And using the halls of power, Trump is...
Cake says nothing, $5 adds to it. Gets me to 39. Thank you so much, Cake.
Speaking and behaving in increasingly...
January 6th is all they have. I know, it's really pathetic at this point. Like, they just have some clips of, like, some chaos unfolding. But, like, I mean, all you need to do is watch, like, police calmly with red velvet rope calmly bring the people in to the location. Go on. Here you go. Here you go. Go on.
Militarized language about punishing the enemy. And his followers are certainly lining up alongside him or behind him for battle. Social media
has nothing to do with the support of her. Yeah, this guy is just coping so hard. The best thing you can do on the left right now, honestly, is move away from it, first of all. Like, I got to give Brestany some credit. Brestany not so erudite, was live reacting to people who are, quote, on her side, on the left, celebrating this, right? It's not like this like small amount of people. It's not like it's not like Hawk Tuah, right? No, it's like rampant. It's a rampant celebration of terrorism. And she was like, this isn't it, you guys. She knows that it's not it. She knows it. So that's good. Seen bigger insurrections at the Spirit Airlines gate, for real. Ultravoid, $5. I want the new DEI plan for the White House. I think they could change it to a smoking building, and they can say they want the building. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Thanks, Cake. Welcome to your work visa. Your work visa starts now, Cake. Jason, $10 says nothing. Thank you, Jason. Susan Griffith, $5. Watching all these people attempt to point out the hypocrisy, it really is bad. It really is. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. There's nothing that you could point to that the right does, or even if we granted everything. There's nothing, you beady-eyed worm, that you can point to on the right that could even come close to what occurred. Suzanne Griffith, $5. Yeah, okay, yeah, I watched that, read that. Thank you, Jason. Oh, wow, Jason retracted a statement. Must have been bad, Jason. Must have been terrible. Thank you so much. It gets me to the goal. You know what that means. Where is it? That means I get to play my favorite video. Sorry. Damn, I am boomering out today for sure. I'm on boomer level 10. Where is it? Where's the funny goal? Here. Where are you? Let me find this. The best goal, the best damn goal on this side of the mountain. Here we go. Hold on. You got to hear it. Best thing ever. Shout out to Dangerous Loaf of Bread. If you're ever in a bad mood, you just rewatch my stream somewhere and watch this guy. I love you, Dangerous Loaf of Bread. I just love you. That ending is just so good. The screen, it's so visceral. It's just so violent. Saw something about troons being possibly banned from owning guns. Can't wait to see the left defend it. Yeah. I might have believed it was an insurrection if they showed Black Friday retail footage. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Yep. I mean, there's so much more you can point to. This guy's got nothing.
Loaded.
That's why I'm trying to get this guy more famous, honestly. I want this guy, the thinking atheist, Seth Andrews. I want him up on, we got to get him on Piers Morgan. Yes, helping him a little bit. It helps him, of course, but there's certain people you can pick to elevate to get annihilated. You have to be selective with who you're going to pick. I nominate this guy. I want to see Andrew against this guy on Piers Morgan.
With memes like this one, an AI depiction of an indignant and angry red-eyed Donald Trump in front of the American flag. And if this seems suspiciously Adam Sutler-esque, you're not crazy, you're just paying attention.
What? An angry face is Hitler-esque because of the what? Are you serious? Look at this picture of Trump, who an AI image made by some rando with angry eyes is just like this other angry thing. So let me get this straight. Every angry photograph that's in response to something terrible happening is Hitler-esque because what? Humans have emotions? Really? Are you serious? That was Hitler-esque. That was a little mustache capybara. That was an angry capybara. Really?
We have Orwellian warnings all around it.
Superman, tiny mask. Yeah, Superman. I mean, who else is angry? Who else shows anger? As long as you photograph anger, there you go. Emotions.
From tanks in the streets to the American Gestapo grabbing people off the streets.
Good. Get them off the streets. Remove political terrorists from the streets. What's the problem, Seth Andrews? I don't understand. Do you have a problem with that? I would say that on the right, too. If there were terrorists on the streets supporting political terrorism, assassination, celebrating political terrorism, you remove them from society. You can have them. How about this? Why don't we finally do this? Let's pick a state. I'll give you three. I'll give you three progressives. I'll give you 3 states. You can have them. You can go there. You guys can try to live based on your political theory and your economic theories and your ethical theories. You guys take those places. Leave the rest of us alone. Right? You want your own country, right? You want your own utopia? You want your own view? You want it to be the thing that America is? I'll give you 3 states. I'll give you 4.
To the golden statues and imposing banners of dear leader. Guys like Matt Forney called Charlie Kirk's assassination libtard stochastic.
Jason says, I think Seth is subtly implying what happened to Sutler in that movie should happen to Trump. Yeah, this is, all they really have, you know why? Because they're all cowards. Most of them talk, but most of them are cowards. It takes a real whack job to act on their philosophy, but they exist. But all they really have is dog whistles. That's all they do. Look at Hassan Piker or whatever his name is. I mean, the fact that that guy is still on a platform mouthing off, saying the stuff he's doing is insane. Insane.
Terrorism and the American Reichstag fire, referring to the fire that took place in Germany's Reichstag building 4 weeks into Adolf Hitler's reign as chancellor. The always reliable Elon Musk called the left the party of murder. Again, the shooter's identity was unknown at the time, and yet he blamed it on the murderous left and said if they won't leave us in peace, then our choice is to fight or die.
That's true.
3 guesses as to who he means by they. They is also the term used by far-right political activist and conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer. They.
Oh gosh, Laura Loomer is the worst. Laura Loomer. I mean, how did she get where she is, honestly? I have no idea. I don't even want to know, honestly. I don't ever want to know. Actually, if you figure it out, don't tell me.
Sent a sniper, you could be next.
I like listening to your stream while cooking. Kartoffelsuppe. It is good. What is that? That made me hungry.
The left are terrorists.
She ate dog food. All it took was paying her $1,000 and she ate dog food. I mean,
Loomer also managed to sneak in some if this is true implications about trans terrorists. She also said Charlie Kirk's murder is a justification to forcibly remove every Obama and Biden political appointment from the federal government. The wickeder.
Nepotism? Nepotism. How did she get to where she is today? Oi!
Infiltrating, they must be excised and crushed. The treasonous must be purged. We are on the cusp of civil war, and people like this say they're geared up, ready, and even eager for war. Militias, they're as heavily armed as they are activated by propaganda mills like Fox News and Newsmax. The more popular right-wing bullhorns like Chaya Raychik, who is
Who is that? I mean, who the hell is that lady? Who gave her permission?
best known for the Libs of TikTok account. They say things like, "This is war," in all caps. The more these people see themselves as the hammers, the more everybody else is a nail. They will blame the left for everything as they escalate and escalate and escalate. Elon Musk's own AI refuted his claim that the left is the party of murder, revealing that there's no data confirming a partisan monopoly on political assassinations in this country.
What? That is not the same claim, you worm. You actually look like an armless worm. You look like a pet ant. What? Oh, the AI. I put something in the AI, coded it to answer the question. No, the question wasn't whether or not the monopoly that the left has a monopoly on assassinations. That's not what it is. It's the party of death, though. It's the party of killing off your offspring. Okay, it's the party of euthanasia. It's the party of suicide. It's the party of death. It's so clearly the party of death that they're against a movement called pro-life. There's a movement that's habitually right-wing, that's pro-life, that is looking at babies and they go, we don't want to kill them. It's the left who kills millions and millions of human beings a year, Seth Andrews.
The Anti-Defamation League's Center on Extremism lists 75% of America's
Oi, let's look at the Anti-Defamation League.
Political murders in the last decade to the extremist right. Yet North Carolina politician Mark Robinson, he's not.
See, he just admitted it was a political murder, right? So even if you granted the Anti-Defamation League narrative, which is hilarious, that's a hilarious source, by the way. Even if you granted it, it doesn't matter. You just basically agreed that what just happened was a political assassination. That's political terrorism. Okay? What would you say, Seth Andrews, if there was a politically motivated assassination, but you knew for certain it was from the right? If we were celebrating it, wouldn't we be celebrating terrorism inside the nation? Wouldn't we be celebrating it? Yes, of course. But when the left does it, Trump has a golden statue. Did you guys know that? That Trump has a golden statue somewhere? This dude is such a whining goober. He really is. He's a whining goober. That's why I want him to get more coverage. I want him to be on. I want him up against Mr. Wilson, Mr. Meanie Wilson, Smokey Wilson. Big on a big channel. He's big enough. He's got 392K subs. There's no reason we can't, bombard Mr. Piers Morgan Get this guy on. Get this guy up against Andrew Wilson. That's what's so good about it, Andrew Wilson. You could just, he's like a pit bull. You're like, you could match up fights. You know what I mean? That's what I get. I'm like, oh, my buddy Andrew. I'm like, I kind of want to put him in a political cage with this other guy. You know what I mean? I'm like back to my childhood when I find like a really badass insect, and I'm like, I want to put that under a dome against a crayfish. What's up, Jay Dyer? Hope you're not being too mean out there, Jay. A midwit always brings up exceptions to generalizations if that's some wise... Yeah, exactly. Well, Trump has a statue. The Anti-Defamation League said this. This guy's such a worm. I bet those glasses aren't even prescriptive.
Not having any of that. He did a church sermon a few years ago talking about the left, the enemies of America, and how to deal with them.
Get mad at me if you want to. Some folks need killing. It's time for somebody to say it.
I mean, that's actually true, though. I mean, how are you going to argue against that? That's actually true. He's being a little vague here, but, you know, it's true. You'd have to be, like, against the term killing, which obviously isn't murder. So he's... Whoever this weird whatever this weird situation is here on the screen, which I wouldn't be caught dead inside of this. I mean, who knows? I mean, what is this? Is this some sort of Pentecostal meetup? Yeah, the word killing, Seth Andrews, by the way, isn't the same as murder. I hope you realize this. You know, you're like 55 and you don't know this. Altervoid, $10. Listen, JB, I used an AI product that was created to satisfy the user asking the question, so you continue using that product. It gave me the answer I wanted. That's the problem. Even his AI, which I fed it the question to, disagreed with Elon, and it's his pet AI. Amazing.
Folks need killing.
Remember the plot to kidnap and execute Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. That was carried out by right-wing extremists who claimed that she was guilty of treason against this country. They had planned to storm the Michigan Capitol building. They wanted to take hostages and kill people in the name of American patriotism. And don't let right-wing pearl clutchers lament all the lefty cruelty without showing them the logs in their own eyes. Remember back when Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, was assaulted at his home by a far-right QAnoner who fractured his skull with a hammer? It was Donald Trump Jr., our own president's son, suggesting a Halloween costume.
Cocaine fallacy. That's a two-cocaine fallacy.
Commemorating that day. And yes, it was none other than Charlie Kirk who recommended the attacker be released from jail. Now, nobody's saying that there are not left-wing extremists. Anybody with eyes and ears has seen examples on the political left of people who've been dancing on Charlie Kirk's corpse, with 5.5 billion people all around the world on social media. And given our charged and polarized political world, we're always going to see the best and worst in people. I do think it's important to be on the right side of an issue where more than one thing can be true at the same time. And don't be a binary thinker on this. Charlie Kirk's murder is
it's a contradiction.
Atrocity. It should be condemned. But the events of September...
Jay says, no, that was Feds on record. Yeah.
September 10th.
I mean, that's why I want to put this guy up on the big screens. That's why I want to get this guy on Piers Morgan. Because, like, a lot of these people, they develop and they have, like, structure. Their structure is good. Their presentation is good. Like, they legitimize themselves with their production value, his voice, The way he speaks, it's going to be easy for listeners to be like, yeah, no, he's reasonable. Listen to his voice. I feel like I'm watching The Christmas Story all over again. But once you get on the mat with people live, you can't do what you do here. And that's what's so frustrating about these types, is that they're never seen on a big stage up against someone live, countering their claims live. They never do it. It's just so annoying. It was a big gay party. Yeah, the hammer thing wasn't what you think it was.
Did not make Charlie Kirk a good person. This guy invoked the Old Testament's command to stone gay people to death. He called Black Lives Matter race hysteria, and he said Dr. Martin Luther King was an awful person.
So? Is this all you got, dude? He was. He was an awful person. Martin Luther, there's a number of black folk. I don't know if you knew this, Seth Andrews, but there's a number of black folk. You should have a conversation with Chad Jackson. Is that his name? I haven't seen him in a bit. Yeah, it was a huge mistake. Talk about the huge mistake. I'm glad he brought it up. The name of the stream today is overcorrection. I don't know a better example of a terrible overcorrection than the Civil Rights Act. What a horrible situation. And that's different. Even saying the Civil Rights Act was a terrible situation is actually worse off for black people in the long run. That's not even the same claim as saying MLK Jr. was a horrible person. I don't know if Seth Andrews can understand this, given that he has the same pea brain, apparently, as Matt Dillahunty.
Charlie Kirk said the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a huge mistake.
That's right. And so did, you know who else said that? Who basically pioneered the narrative and documented it with stats? His name is Thomas Sowell. He's also a person of color, as you'd call him, Seth Andrews. He was also a person of color. Is he also horrible for saying that now?
He opposed diversity initiatives. He called vaccine mandates medical apartheid. He said LGBT people were dangerous to children.
And are you going to counter any of the claims, or are you just going to say them with incredulity, like you can't believe someone said it? Is that it? Is that it? This is why he would get absolutely eaten alive on Piers Morgan if we can get him on here. I don't care. I hope up against Jay, Andrew, I don't care. Get some of our top gladiators up against this guy. That's my goal in the next month. Get Seth Andrews with his big stupid mouth up on a show so he can't just go, oh my gosh, someone said something that sounds terrible.
He promoted the white supremacist conspiracy theory of the Great Replacement theory. He ranted about...
Excuse me? The Great Replacement? Yeah, that's not hard to defend. All you have to do is describe reality. It's not even a theory. Like, there's only two options there. Every country that people are seeking to go to from other shitholes are finding a way to do it easier and easier, right? The barrier of entry is lowering. It's getting thinner. You know what I mean? And so the result is every country that had an identity is getting diluted, right? With pluralism, not just ideology, but ethnic and cultural. That means language too, by the way. This is happening. This is descriptively happening. You can't deny what's descriptively happening. You can actually just say descriptively. Now, whether it should happen is a different argument, but what is happening is a very clear thing you can describe. In Europe, in America, in Canada, not so much in Japan. Interesting. That's interesting. That's going to come up tonight, by the way, so make sure to watch the 2-on-2 debate tonight. I'll be co-streaming it here. But whether or not demographics are being displaced is not something debated. So if he's saying, well, the theory is that it's purposeful, okay, that can be debated, sure. But don't say it's a conspiracy theory because, there's definitely groups of people, NGOs, and all sorts of politically elite people who operate at the global scale, not at the national scale, who would love it. Large corporations, too. They would love it if they could create the homogeny that a nation would otherwise have in their heritage, ethnicity, practices, and theology. If the new homogeny is just consumerism, do you know who might be interested in homogenizing the world and getting people away from their ancient cultures and traditions and their theology and getting them moved over to just singular humans operating in a pure consumer materialist sense? There are people who would love that to happen. Seth, you'd have to actually think about this a little more nuanced, in a more nuanced way, Seth, to understand this. This guy is just making me...
Prowling blacks targeting white people for fun. He told Taylor Swift that she's a woman, so she should submit to her husband.
Oh my goodness! He aligns with a Christian paradigm, and he says something consistent with his Christian paradigm. Oh my goodness!
He's not in charge.
Oh my goodness! I gotta do the Parker mouth cover. Oh my goodness! Oy vey! He also said he would love it if his extended community shared his value sets.
He declared that if his 10-year-old daughter was raped, he would force the child to carry the rapist baby to term.
Oh my gosh! Oh goodness! He actually said that he doesn't want to murder a human life that's innocent just because they're the product of a terrible act. Yeah? Oh my gosh, can you believe he won't murder another human being? As punishment for the thing that they didn't do? Unbelievable. Yeah, that's 9 months. That's 9 months of a girl's existence. Yeah, is it horrible? Yeah. Is it virtuous? Yeah. Yeah. Well, in my view, you kill the thing. Interesting. You kill the thing.
He promoted Nuremberg-style trials for all gender-affirming doctors.
Yeah, definitely. How do you affirm how are you a doctor, Seth Andrews, and you affirm something you can't point to biologically? How do you affirm a philosophy as a doctor? Tell me. Yeah, I agree with that. We should carry that torch, by the way, from Charlie Kirk. Anyone who's a doctor who, affirms a philosophy that's broken and unjustified, you can't defend scientifically. A doctor should be based in what you call science, Seth Andrews. So yeah, any doctor who's going, well, I know Billy. I remember Billy when he was born, and it's so great that he's a Nancy now. Just at age 4, it's amazing how developed they are. So we're going to go ahead, and there's different ways we can chop the dick off. Different ways we can chemically castrate what was your son but now is your daughter. And let's talk about it. Yeah, they should be basically removed, not only from their medical status, but they should be removed from society. Psychotic doctors. Oh, those never exist. Right. Those never exist. Now, it's ironic that he talks about the Nuremberg trials. Isn't that hilarious? He actually cites an example of complete abuse of the medical industry. And he acts like it can't happen again? Right. Because he thinks a boy could be a girl. You guys ever see that clip of Mr. Rogers? If you're a boy, you're always a boy. If you're a girl, you'll always be a girl. And we have special bodies. Like even that creep with his cardigan knew better. Seth, stop. We already like Charlie Kirk enough. I know, he just keeps... I'm just going, wow. Now I really feel bad for making fun of him so much. Scumbag, $5. Thank you. They turn the debate to is rape bad, remove emotions, and show me the difference between an embryo created consensually and a created by force. Yeah, no difference.
Blasted liberals for celebrating a nation that is less white, and he called state-church separation a fabrication of the secular humanist community. And those are just a drop in the Charlie Kirk bucket.
And you've refuted none of them. You notice that, Seth Andrews? You're the guy on Reason. He's the thinking atheist. Didn't counter a single thing. You just say it with like some sort of emphatic disgust and you're good, right? That's what we should try doing. All we have to do is repeat the thing that someone says with some emphasis of disgust, and that's pretty much good, right?
This is the GOP's current martyr saint. I don't want political assassinations to become normalized.
Too late.
I don't want extremism to be
too late
normalized. I certainly don't want a ministry of truth banging Bibles and crying treason when free people actually do and say free things.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's just amazing that he thinks the ministry of truth is more aligned with a right-leaning philosophy than a left. You kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you slimy greaseball? Are you just ignoring what happened in the last 5 years since 2020? Are you ignoring the ministry of truth? People losing their jobs because they didn't want to be forced to inject something they don't understand into their bodies in response to some disease that they didn't understand either? The ministry of truth? Are you kidding me, dude? Should I go back and see what your takes were during the Carunkum fiasco? Get the hell out of here, dude.
And I certainly don't want
fucking weasel.
A new American Civil War. And yet...
Well, I mean, the thing is, I'll say this again. A new American Civil War certainly wouldn't be, if it were between the right and the left, it would be like a 1 week war. It'd be like the most famous, quickest war ever. Is there a famous, where's my history buffs? Jay, are you still in the chat? What's the quickest war that ever happened? It'd be like a 1 day war. It'd be like a news cycle war. Be like, you see that war? Yeah, I scrolled through it yesterday. Magic Johnson's still alive? No, the war wouldn't be between these people. These frail people, the Seth Andrews, you know, the Trunatics. These people don't know what guns are. They don't have guns. They're anti-gun. They don't have the courage. The left, the right side has a bunch of men who are willing and ready in the event it's needed to stand up and fight, actually fight. The left only relies on like MK Ultra people.
Hardy cow! I thought my fluoride stare was bad.
Yeah, right? Hardy cow! That is a big super chat! That was a big super chat, Vagine. Yeah, that's the thing, is like the right has it ready, a ready militia, right? We have a bunch of guns, all of us. And the left is like, well, who is going to fight? And you're like, well, we need some lunatic MK Ultra subject. We'll just wait on them. That's why I'm saying, and I don't want this to happen, but the only logical civil war that could be actualized is between right-leaning people who are sick of defending the liberties of psychotic people. And it goes far beyond them assassinating us. It's their entire philosophy is degrading society in general. All of it. The whole thing. So the Civil War, if there was a Civil War, it really wouldn't be a right side against these furries. It would actually be the right side against the classical liberal right, the people who are actually these like constitutional fetishists. Say that 10 times fast. That would be the war. It'd be like the Ben Shapiros and those sort of like conservative ink types. The liberals. They're actually liberals. That's the war. It'd be like, but my Constitution, but my freedom, but their liberty. You know, the Ben Shapiros. Well, and honestly, you know, Charlie Kirk up to his death wasn't actually fully moved away from the classical liberal ideology, which holds your liberty is more important. Even, you know, Ben Shapiro should just come out and say it. Well, I disagree with your poisonous, cancerous philosophy that has taken over all of academia, all of politics, and everywhere else, all of every industry possible, even the medical industry. I don't agree with you, but I will die for your right to destroy our country. That's what you got to be saying at this point, to be holding on to these values. You got to bite the bullet and say, yeah, I don't agree with the poisonous, horrific ideology that's destroying every aspect of our culture and our nation. I don't agree with it, but I'll fight for you to have the right to destroy where I live. Libertarians, got nothing. Classical liberals, nothing. And so there's a side of things that wants to take government in their own hands, and they do it. They're called secularists. They've already done it. They've taken all of the things. They've taken the schools. They've taken higher academia. They've taken the colleges. They've taken Hollywood, entertainment, children's books. They've taken it all. And these soft right-wing people are like, yeah, but that's what's great about America. The great thing about the American project, even though it's under 300 years old, is that the founding fathers knew to put it in there. It was encoded in the very literature that it would allow for those enemies of the country to flourish. That's what's so beautiful about America. It allows invaders to softly invade with their moldy philosophy and practices. And you know what I mean? That's what's so beautiful about it. Oh, spacious skies. How does it go? Yeah, do you want to stop it? Well, I would. That's against what the Constitution and the Founding Fathers had in mind. You see, I would. But that would defending my nation would violate the nation's protocol, you see. So, you know, it's a tough thing. Let liberty reign.